This week in the restroom, we get our evil cell phone reception on to flush a giant Stephen King turd from 2016. We've got Walking Dead extras, end-of-the-world plot devices, zero chemistry acting, low-budget locations, and actor John Cusack continuing to live paycheck to paycheck with a performance so bad he makes Con Air look like Say Anything. It's Cell. And before we flush it, we're going to take it out and play with it a little. Restroom Cinema. We're here to flush it, so you don't have to see it. Greetings, everyone. I am Honor Knight, your head cinematic flusher right here in the restroom. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-cinematic flushers, Midwest movie mogul Colleen Griffin.
Hey.
And Raging Buddha B-movie queen, Nora Crest.
What's up?
Let's kick off this flush with a round of Thunder Dump. Blow some ass. I'll put 60 seconds on the restroom clock, and we're going to go around the cinematic bowl to see who has the worst alternate title for this week's cinematic turd. The loser will then get to read the RSS, that's Restroom Stall Stats, in a funny voice of my choosing. Here we go. Griff!
The Dark Cell Tower.
Oh, you stole mine, son of a bitch. Crest!
Becoming John Cusack.
And I had the Dark Cell Phone Tower. Wah wah. Griff!
Fry Zombie.
Oh, not bad. I think you stole mine. Crest?
Wrong number.
Oh, that's pretty good. I had Can You Hear Me Now? Which, of course...
I had Can You Kill Me Now?
Oh, that's better. Damn it, we're slipping this week, guys. Griff!
Dead Battery.
That's a stretch. Crest!
Stephen King should never write a screenplay.
I had Lethal Weapon 5. Cell Vengeance. Think about that one. Griffin?
An Inconvenient Bluetooth.
Oh, very good. Crest?
Killer Tech.
That's super fucking lame. And I had Say Anything 2. Cell Phone Boogaloo. Oh. And that is time. We ended on a really bad one, but marginally funnier than Crest's last one, which leads me to believe that Crest is our big loser this week, despite a very good, semi-okay round of thunder. Well, you're a loser on both counts.
I told you not to haze you.
I'm not. Well, your last one kind of sucked, and you haven't been here in 14 fucking weeks. So you know what? You got to start pulling your fucking weight.
Haze her back.
So there you go, folks. Nora Crest is the big loser this week. She's gonna be reading the Restroom Stall Stats in the voice of a Stephen King redneck.
Stephen King redneck?
Well, the redneck of your choice that would be into this kind of Stephen King crap. Have at it.
Well, what about a Stephen King Bostonian?
All right, here it goes. So Cell's 2016 American science fiction horror film, based on the novel by Stephen King. This fucking asshole wrote the goddamn screenplay too. That's why it sucks. It's wicked bad. Wicked bad. The film was directed by Todd Williams. Who gives a fuck about that guy? John Cusack, he looks terrible. And some guy, Adam Aleka, I don't know. Then they have fucking Samuel L. Jackson. He says motherfucker one time. What a fucking waste of Samuel L. Jackson. He doesn't say, I'm fucking tired of these motherfucking zombies. Like, that was gold. They should have had that in there. Cell's the second film adaptation of King's story to star John Cusack and Samuel Jackson because they couldn't get enough of them the first time when they did 1408. Cell was panned by critics. I don't know why. It was great. I'm kidding. It sucked. Sucked dick. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 11%. I don't know who these 11 people are, but they're fucking dumb. They're fucking retards. The site's critical consensus reads, shoddily crafted and devoid of suspense, Cell squanders a capable cast and Stephen King once present source material on bland rehash of zombie cliches.
All right, there you go. Very fiery return to the restroom. Nora Crest with some most impressive.
Yeah.
Restroom Stall Stats. Pour one out for Miss Crest. Thank you. That was a great job. Very accurate, too. Hey, if you liked Dreamcatcher, The Mangler, Thinner, Sleepwalker, Sometimes They Come Back, The Dark Half, Riding the Bullet, Maximum Overdrive, Creepshow 2, and The Lawnmower Man. I couldn't even get that last part out. Boy, and we got a Stephen King turd for you. Holy shit. You know when I run out of breath? That's too many fucking bad films of adaptions from Stephen King. Entire film.
It really is.
It really is. There's no excuse for this at this
point.
And
the sad part is he's adapting his own shit.
Yeah, well,
his own shit.
At least with what is it, Dreamcatcher? He admitted he was crazy on pills.
All of his books that are so beloved that he has written a script for
are
the world's worst. They're the worst.
How fast do you think Cusack and Jackson got on their cell phones, get it, to their agents once they saw the final edit of this turd?
I don't think so, because Samuel Jackson says yes to everything.
Well, we'll talk about that. Yes, he does.
Care.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
maybe he should start caring.
They like working together.
We'll talk about that. You know your film sucks when it takes place in Massachusetts, but it was clearly shot in the greater Atlanta area.
Yeah, P.S. This was shot in Georgia.
Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta. Yeah,
when
I know.
I
That's what
saw
I'm
the
saying.
Georgia credit at the end.
Yeah, it was shot in Atlanta. There was one shot down on Stone Mountain. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. I know. All right. This turd is a great palate cleanser from that crappy Dark Tower adaptation just a few weeks ago.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. It was actually better than this. Not by much, but marginally better. Lionsgate, Saban Films, Benaroya Pictures International Film Trust, 120 DB Films, and the Genre Company. Just in case you're wondering how many production companies or the Genre Company, it takes to make a crappy Stephen King adaptation this day. This turd is just one production company short of a prison gangbang. Jesus Christ!
And John Cusack's an exec producer on this book.
Yeah,
on top of all, we have the 5 production companies, and then we have, for some reason, 5 minutes of B-roll from inside airports,
and with opening credits where that's like blocking out.
Well, yeah, that was my next.
Why do I need to see all this B-roll of airports?
Yes.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of closed captions that block out a scene when you need to see it.
Yeah.
Cell. Opening title graphics feature distracting black boxes, as these two ladies were talking about, across the screen to look like the filmmakers were either trying to hide random nude body parts or extras constantly giving the finger to the camera for having to appear in this turd. They are literally the worst credits I've ever seen.
It's so dumb.
It's really obvious.
It's going to look really avant-garde.
No.
It's going to be fabulous.
It's not an art film. It's not a manual. Okay, just put normal credits on there. You're blocking chunks of the screen. Not that we really need to see that B-roll, as Chris mentioned, of just people walking through an airport, probably Atlanta airport, subbing in for Boston airport.
No! I love how they called it Boston International Airport.
Right?
No, bitches, it's Logan.
And Stacy Keach, who probably hoped he'd already be dead before this film was A, made or be released.
I was really hoping Stacy Keach was going to be the actual bad guy.
Are you kidding me?
I know, that's what I thought. I was hoping for that.
He's one day shoot Keach, and we'll get to him. But yeah, Stacy Keach, folks, for people who remember Stacy Keach, he is here, barely. Screenplay by Stephen King and Alam Alala, it doesn't even matter. At least one of these men were held at gunpoint to write this turd. The other is Adam Alalala, who just had to give King a blowjob while he was forced to write the screenplay.
Oh, come on.
He did. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It feels like this is like where people went to work when they couldn't work for asylum.
This is the first thing in the trivia. Stephen King announced in 2009.
Jesus.
Okay, so this is 7 years before this movie came out, that he had written a screenplay for the movie and it had created a new ending based on reader complaints about the book's ending.
Really?
So this fucked up ending,
which is we'll talk about that at length.
We're supposed to replace the actual ending of the book that people were pissed off about.
Guys, here's a rule of thumb. If it's written by King, don't fucking go see it because it's going to be fucking horrible. Everything he gets his hands on is, with the exception of Creepshow, 1982 Creepshow, which is a very good film and a very good screenplay. Other than that, I don't know why this guy even bothers at this point in his career to try to adapt his own material. Get somebody else.
I think King secretly wrote the scripts for True Detective season 2.
Maybe that would explain a lot. But let me just say this: the box office was so terrible it only opened in Italy. So they list the box office in euros. The first week it opened, on the 17th of July, it made 144,510 euros. And then the next week, it made 313,000 euros. And then they kept it there one more week, because it did better the second week. It only made 69,837.
Every Italian's like, where's the scary clown? Where's the guy with the axe? This movie sucks.
This is how sad it is. Like, nobody else wanted to open this movie, so Italy was like, "Hey, Stephen King, okay,
it's gonna be super scary." With apologies to everybody in Italy who I just culturally appropriate. I can't see. I'm drunk already. Can't pronounce that, folks. In case you're wondering, this is your tie-in this week. We're doing Stephen King's This Piece of Shit because it opens tomorrow, and it apparently, according to the buzz, is an amazing fucking movie. So you might want to skip this one or listen to us. and then go see it tomorrow.
Well, honestly, it's
not going to see it.
Why are you big pussy? Really?
No, I'm not either.
You
it's
are
not
a big
the type
poof.
of thing I want. I will
It's
see
guys.
It,
this is supposed to be. This is a landmark.
I don't want to see it in a movie theater.
Why? It's just gonna be you in there.
It's not my jam.
Hey, it's me. Just got off the plane. Cusack appears on screen around the 4-minute mark looking like a homeless person who's actually living in one of the restroom stalls at the airport.
He looks like he never took off his costume from Grosse Pointe. No, he's been wearing that costume ever since he was in that movie.
I haven't seen him.
Hasn't washed
and he hadn't put on the douche cap in this one.
Not yet.
He had the black baseball
No, it's coming up, though. The cap's coming up, dude.
He insists on wearing a hat.
Hang on.
I think, honestly, he's bald.
That's what I think.
And he doesn't want any shots from him from behind.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
So he just puts on caps now.
We'll talk about that in 1 sec. I haven't seen him this miserable in a film since Drive Hard. I think he filmed this film.
Happier in Drive Hard.
Yeah, really?
I wasn't here for that. So.
Oh no, I don't think Chris.
He didn't get to vape.
Yeah, he didn't get to vape in this movie.
Very upset.
I ran out of juice, not unlike the filmmakers who decided to shoot this cell phone attack scene like everyone just discovered how much they were paying for their service at the 7-minute mark. I haven't seen this many people go into a blind rage since the election results. So, let's recap. So let me explain. John Cusack gets off a plane. He's a graphic artist who apparently just gets on the phone to his wife, his cell phone, and it was telling him he just made a big deal, and he's estranged from his wife and son.
Generic ass cell phone.
Yeah, and generic dialogue and generic cell phone. But as he's going through the airport, his cell runs out of service, and forcing him to use a payphone, which I didn't even know they still existed, but apparently.
And he puts a quarter in it instead of using his ATM card.
Right, which all of them have now. But okay, so while he's on a payphone, apparently a landline, you're okay. Everybody who's on their cell phones, there's a cell phone attack. This transmission
got cut off again because he didn't put enough money in.
And then there's like I said, there's a transmission that goes through all the cell phones and forces everybody to go banana nuts at one time. Like there was a sale at Walmart.
Black Friday rage.
This scene is what happens when you populate it with rejected extras from The Walking Dead and give them no direction.
Oh my
Every
God,
one of these, because it was shot in the Atlanta area.
Or like 28 days later, produced by Asylum Studios.
Oh yeah, it's the same extras, and they're terrible extras. These are the ones that have to leap over chairs and chew each other's ears off, and and shake and vibrate and go into epileptic fits and spit up vomit and all this other stuff that you've seen in every other film, better in other movies. But here, these are the people that you hire for $25 a day to come in and just populate the scene while John Cusack walks around with this dumb look on his face like he doesn't know what's going on, or he's just wondering how much he's getting paid for the day so when he can go home. Lloyd Kaufman cameo around the 8-minute mark, folks, probably because Kaufman was actually at the airport for a flight and just happened to wander into frame while they were shooting.
I'm telling you, they just
anybody see that?
Random B-roll.
Yeah. And Lloyd Kaufman happened to be there. That was probably the best part of the film.
And I'm sorry, they were passing around tablets of Alka-Seltzer to the extras, going like, hey, just whatever.
Yeah, exactly. There's no rhyme or reason for this. I wish it was just better orchestrated. So it's supposed to come off as a really horrifying, chilling scene, but it's so confusing that you're sitting there wondering what's going on and not caught up in that horrific moment. Just like Cusack's look on his face. And obviously, you know what he was looking for? He's confused because he's like, where's my hat? I need my hat for this scene because I don't want to turn around and show my bald spot to the camera. What, are you going to shoot everybody? One would hope so we can end this turn early, but no. So anyway, the people who are not infected are trying to control the situation. There's airport police just shooting people who are going bananas. Because once they go into a blind rampage, they start just eating people, which, okay, we can go with that. But, I wish it was better explained at the onset, but all right. Cusack's expression in this scene looks like he didn't hear the director call action when everything goes to hell. Although he does look more relaxed when he gets to put on that liquor store robbery wool hat on his head around the 10-minute mark. There you go, folks. We only had to wait 10 minutes before he put the hat on for the rest of the running time. Are these hats written to every one of his contracts, or is he getting chemo treatment? Chris, are you right on this? Do you think he's really that self-conscious about that bald? Can't he get that little patch like, what's his name had from the Mummy movies?
Jeremy Piven?
No, the guy from the Mummy.
Oh,
that fucking guy. Brendan Fraser. Yeah, he's got a bald spot. Get his hairpiece. His toupee.
I think it's something. I think he also is very self-conscious about the size of his gigantic head.
Griff?
That's what she said.
Hey-o! I don't know what the problem is with Cusack at this point. He didn't wear this many hats in his career until this part of his career, this last, 5 years or so. John, if you're going bald, go bald. Bruce Willis did it. Because he looks like a moron in this wool hat, guys. I'm gonna say,
or just get like hair transplant or something.
Yeah, well, we have the technology, right? We're like the $6 million man.
Yeah, and Joel McHale got it and owned up to it.
Yeah, but what's so sad about John Cusack is he's only 51.
Yeah.
Only.
And he looks terrible.
He doesn't look healthy.
He's aging into
and he's trying
he doesn't.
He's trying to look younger.
No,
he's sad.
He's got that Donald Trump inflammation going on.
What happened to Lloyd Dobber?
Lloyd Dobler, but okay. Is there a driver on this train? Cue Samuel L. Jackson around the 11-minute mark, looking like he was living in the restroom stall next to Cusack. Christ. Do you know that the L in Samuel L. Jackson actually stands for I'll take anything?
It's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Who told these two actors this turd would be just like 1408 in order to get them to sign on? I think they did because they found out Stephen King wrote the screenplay. That's my guess. But then they read the screenplay and they still said yes. I don't understand. These are two veteran actors. These aren't two new guys. Samuel Jackson's been around forever. He knows what a bad script is, but then again,
I really feel like
we just flushed him 2 weeks ago.
Jackson was just saying his own shit. I don't even feel like he was going off.
But what about Cusack?
No, but the thing is, he was good. He was good.
He was okay. He's not. He was dialed down. He was really dialed down.
No, yeah, but he was I think he was just saying whatever instead of going off script. Or no, I'm sorry, going on with the script, and I think he was better for it.
So John Cusack makes his way through the airport terminal down to the subway below the airport terminal. In that subway, he runs into Samuel L. Jackson, who's the train conductor. They have this little not really a meet cute, but they meet on this train with a group of other people, and they kind of befriend each other to kind of get through.
I know, but see, can I just point out one thing? Already at the beginning of this film, they established no zombie canon. They run fast, they run slow.
Oh, yeah, we have no idea. Nope.
Eating each other.
Oh, none of that.
There's no...
That's a big problem.
One focused point of they're looking for alive people to convert or eat, or they're looking for a certain thing. They're all over the place. It doesn't make any sense.
It's random extra stuff that extras are told to do on the spot and not general direction for everybody.
The root problem with you have a cause, there's a weird cell phone signal, and then it turns people crazy, but there's no one thing that it does to all, you know what I mean? If this was supposed to be an interaction with human brains and supposed to cause humans to do one specific thing, they finally established that later in the film. But at the beginning, it should have turned something on that was their activity.
The novel does establish that.
If Jackson had said, "I have had enough of these motherfucking phones on this motherfucking cell phone plan," I would give this turd a thumbs up. So anyway, they buddy up together and they escape through the tunnels, and there's this other white guy who gets hit by an axe and he's killed, so don't worry about him.
DJ something.
DJ Liquid, wasn't it? DJ Liquid? DJ Liquid's around for literally one scene and two scenes.
Did you guys think he was going to be around for a lot longer?
No, I didn't. No, because he got too far ahead of the other two.
As soon as he said deuces to the people on the train, deuces, I knew he was going to die.
Yeah, I'm going to start saying that shit walking around. Deuces.
I thought he would last a little bit longer. And
sorry. He didn't last long. He gets hit by an
axe. I don't know. It'd be great if he had a death scene where he goes,
oh, that would
he doesn't even have credit.
No, yeah. he was the grip. It was just an electric grip on that shit. Yeah. So anyway, the first plan of attack is to get back to Cusack's apartment in Massachusetts. I'm putting that in air quotes. It's really greater Atlanta. But
here
we go. I live upstairs. Isabel Furman shows up around the 18-minute mark with a knife in hand like she just got done filming Orphan. I don't know if any of you guys saw Orphan. It's a dynamite film. It's probably her best performance. If you guys have not seen it.
She was a badass in Hunger Games.
Okay, well, we'll give her that, but I'm citing on Orphan because it had one of the best twist endings I've seen.
She was a low-key psychopath in
okay, all right. Here she's wasted. But anyway, she's a neighbor. She just walks in. She had to kill her mother. She's covered in blood. Anyway, Sam Jackson and John Cusack just exchange some lines of dialogue. They have nothing to do with anything, and then the door knocks, and then Furman shows up.
Well, let me just say, one thing that bugged me is they walk into his apartment. It's clearly daytime. Samuel Jackson says, "Did you draw all this?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm a graphic designer." And then all of a sudden, boom, it's night.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I want to get out of this dress. Line which normally would arouse me, but here it looks like Furman really didn't want to be on set anymore. It's like she got into the movie and was like, ugh.
She's I made a huge mistake.
I know. You can tell on her face she made a huge mistake. She's completely wasted. She's not really given anything fun to do.
I don't know.
And I like her.
I think maybe
like her.
she needs to work on it because she's just like got that dead stare down.
Yeah, she does.
From her orphan days, but
Yeah,
you
I
know
think
there
that's the
are
problem.
other things.
I'm gonna
She's
try.
done some other good stuff. I'll give her that.
Okay,
you know.
yeah, no, I like her.
And
I do like
apparently
her.
she's on Masters of Sex.
She was.
she-
I don't think she's on there
Yeah.
anymore. She
No,
was
no,
on
she's
there.
not on the new season,
No,
but she was
but
on
she-
last season.
Oh, is she
So.
naked on that? Maybe I'll have to go back and watch that. Actually.
Oh, for Christ's
Well,
sake!
well,
Dude,
you know, come
she is.
You know, it's I get.
illegal.
No,
She is like
she's
Just
over
20
18.
years old.
Oh, that's
Yes.
fine. She's fine. I'm 2 years past it. Relax.
Okay, but she was probably
Yeah.
underage to film this movie.
No, not this film.
No.
Yeah, she was because it was
No,
filmed
the-
in 2014.
2014.
Oh, was it
Yes.
really? And sat on the shelf
Yes.
for 2 years?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go, folks. Well, here's the other problem. When a film sits on a shelf, it's for a reason.
Can I talk real quick about how he said, "Oh, my girlfriend has jeans. They might fit.
Yeah.
They look like they might fit you."
And they fit her exactly. So.
Oh no! And then she comes out in pajamas and said, "I found these. Do you mind?"
And it's like his stuff.
Cigarettes.
It's so creepy
No, it's
weird.
cigarettes. It's cigarettes. Samuel L. Jackson takes him away and says no.
Yeah.
She wants to smoke a cigarette. Dude, her mother, she had to just kill her own mother.
Yeah, have a cigarette. I know. That doesn't make it. They're drinking, by the way. You should mention in this scene a lot of whiskey for some reason. Some kind of terrorist attack or some shit. You think? Just a sample of the quality dialogue from veteran writer Stephen King. Hey-o. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of those lines. So next morning, they decide to. Cusack's hell bent on finding his wife and missing son in New Hampshire, which of course they're in Massachusetts. They have to go to New Hampshire to find out if they're dead or not. And he enlists. Obviously, Jackson's going to go with them, and Isabel Furman, who has nothing better to do, is going to tag along. So they're now out in the greater streets of Atlanta, even though it's supposed to be Massachusetts. You get the line, they're like a flock of birds. Or a bunch of drunk idiots on their way to Denny's after closing time, 24-minute mark. So the zombies now start to act together, and apparently they travel in packs. Again, this I'm sorry. Well, yes, I know. But the canon is not established at the beginning of the film, so we have to learn this shit as they're learning it. It's very annoying, and we're not.
Also, there's no canon on how you kill these things either.
I would think it was a standard zombie, shot to the head.
You don't
yeah,
have to shoot them in the
but
head
yeah,
or behead them or set them
we'll
on
get
fire.
the-
You can shoot
yeah.
them just like a person.
All right. I guess we can do that
we'll
too.
get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, so they escape from the city, and they come up to a house which has some, there's a gun nut, Trump fan is parked there and lives there. And there's a line that says, this is Jackson's line, "I'm a black man with a crowbar. I'm not walking up there." This is arguably the funniest line in this turd. I thought that was okay. I think he probably ad-libbed that. I don't think that was...
I know, that was
that
great.
was not a
And
Stephen King line.
then he's like, he traded him for his baseball bat. and
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, that makes it better."
And then Furman traded him and gave him like a tire iron.
Yeah.
So that's, I wish the film was a little more funnier in that it was pushed a little bit there. And I thought it would have been a little more palatable, but no. So they go into the house, they get some, of course now they armor up. In fact, I thought there would be a gun-toting nut dead in there, but apparently there was just two women that shot each other in the basement. But apparently there's a shitload of guns and ammo, and they all suit up. Again, that's a scene that's badly edited. I think there was more footage that was cut out of that sequence to cut it down.
Oh, and even the teenager is like totally like knows exactly what she's doing.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's about
All of a
Furman.
sudden, everybody
Yeah.
can just shoot guns.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
other problem. Yes, I know. Guys, if you haven't shot a gun, it's not as easy as you might think it would be to hold and manage. But they're all pros by the time they get outside here, which is very shortly. So they get the guns,
Yes,
they go
nobody
outside.
ever has to reload in this movie.
And they find a guy sitting on just a swing set all by himself with his back turned to the audience. You can kind of know where that's going. The line is, I guess they don't all travel in flocks or just appear in local haunted house attractions. 30-minute mark on that one. Because, again, the extras are terrible. The kid turns around. They end up having to shoot him because he's infected.
This is the first zombie movie I've seen where the zombies pick up weapons.
Yeah, this movie was so inconsistent about their intelligence.
Yes.
From what I read about the book, it was very clear that they did have a level of intelligence, even though they have a high mind. Actually, they became more intelligent.
See,
they actually developed telepathy as it went on.
Yeah, we'll address that shortly. That is touched upon here, but not as well as in the novel. Anyway, the kid with the axe gets shot, the zombie kid, by Jackson. As a result of that, apparently it alerts every other fucking zombie in the area, and they all start chasing them. And now there's first of all, those three people would have been outrun easily. Although they would have been killed immediately. But okay. But we're going to assume that Jackson, Cusack, and Isabel Furman can outrun them for this part. Finally, Jackson says, "Fuck this." And he couldn't have said it any better since we now have to watch a group of extras stand around with their mouths open like Donald Sutherland at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers while a crappy cell phone signal is heard of the soundtrack at the 33-minute mark. So they get down to the water line, they hide underneath a boat, which I think they would have been found, but okay, we're going to let that slide. And apparently since they couldn't find them, they just plug into the internet.
I think it was because the sun was setting.
Oh, was it? Oh, they had to go home? I guess once the sun
They
goes
got
down.
their final blast for the evening. And then, you know.
They got to go home and plug their phones in. Telepathic. Like the pulse flows through them and they're like this big organic network. The production wanted to use Gordon Lightfoot's If You Can Read My Mind over this scene, but they couldn't afford it.
Oh my God.
I know, that's a deep cut there, folks. With apologies to Gordon Lightfoot. So anyway, they do escape there, and now we're on to the next. They find this mansion in the middle of nowhere. Charles Arday, headmaster. Stacy Keach appears on screen around the 37-minute mark, sporting his best Brando from The Godfather look.
I was so stoked to see him, and I honestly was rooting for him to be the bad guy. I wanted that.
I know.
He was
I wanted
barely
him to play a major part.
He's a headmaster. He looks bloated and unhappy to be even in this film. Folks, if you don't know who Stacy Keach is, I'm not going to go into, just Google it. Mike Hammer.
He's one of the most prolific actors of all
he's
time.
He's an exceptionally talented actor.
Unhappy, kind of his deal.
Now he's not dead, right? Is he still alive? I don't know if he's still.
He's still alive.
Thank you.
Yeah,
right.
he is.
Woo, all right. So I don't want to kill him prematurely. I'm surprised this film did not kill him. He doesn't look well, I don't think, in this film.
He's in his 70s.
Is he really? Okay, all right. All right. I'm gonna give him a break. But I just, but why wheel him out? Can't he just retire and be done with it? Does he still need money?
P.S. He's in a new TV show.
Is he? Coming
out in 2017, Man with a Plan.
Oh, there we go.
Stupid one, what's his face?
Oh, no.
And then he was on Blue Bloods for a hot minute. He's been doing The Simpsons like forever and ever and ever. But he has 3 things in post-production right now.
Wow.
Gotti.
Oh, really?
Wow. Survival Skills, which is a short, and Periphery.
Wow. No, I'm glad to see Stacy Keach still getting work. Okay. All right. I stand corrected on that. In fact, they may be the next stage in human evolution. Didn't Steve Jobs say this when he introduced the iPhone?
I know. I was trying to figure an eye.
It's a very Steve. Yeah, I know. It's a very Steve Jobs type of. Yeah. I know. It's a cheap joke there. So basically, they're trying to. They get taken into this boarding school, and as they find out. The cell phone zombies, the phonies, they're called phonies. We'll talk about that in a little bit. At night, they have to reboot. So apparently they take them out to the track field, and there's like 1 billion of them out there and laying down, all cuddling their phones and sleeping. And they say, they're harmless at night. That's what Stacy Keach says. It's just during the day that they're a problem. Why was this canon not established earlier? Why do we have to keep finding out this dumb shit as we go?
It's not either.
Oh, it's so frustrating. So anyway, you got a lot of cell phone zombies sleeping on this field.
How are the zombies charging these cell phones?
Well, this canon was not established, Chris, like you mentioned earlier.
I'm just saying it's not canon. It's called electricity. The fucking power went
Well, you're right. That's a good point. How are they
charge your cell phone? You can't. So how are they charging these cell phones that are playing this fucking elevator music for them?
That's
all these cell phones would have been dead. You're absolutely right. That's a very good technical point. All right. Chris with the win. She's back and she got the win. What is a brain? Something Stephen King wasn't using when he wrote this turd. Hey-o!
Right.
That was a good one. Are we sure we want to do this? Bet that's what Cusack was asking Jackson after they both read the screenplay, the 41-minute mark. So their solution is they got to kill everybody on the field who's laying down. So their solution is to drive over them with gasoline and then set them on fire. This sounds more exciting than me explaining
and they're
it.
Driving over. He gets stuck halfway through driving over the bodies.
You know what I wrote down? I said driving over bodies would be way more crunchy. The sounds that they're playing, the sound effects that they put on are so not accurate because true story, kids. I was driving over somebody with my sister in 1995 or 94, and I was coming around a curve and I didn't see it right away, but there was a dead cat. It was already dead in the road, and I tried to move away from it, and I went right over its skull, and the crunch. And then again with my back tires, I almost projectile vomited all over my car.
Oh, I did with the rabbit.
It's so disgusting. And he's going over hundreds
of
people, and not one of these skull popping sounds happens.
Bad sounds. That was my next line, where the line says, "You've had enough of that to be a DUI, right?" Join the club. Drinking is the only way we're able to stomach this lame mass cell zombie, or phony extermination scene around the 44-minute mark. So, this scene is supposed to be horrific and kind of funny at the same time. King writes a lot of scenes like this in his books. And for some reason, it translates better there because I think your imagination kind of fills in what's going on.
I would have been puking all over myself.
That Crest, if you had read that, if you had read what was happening in this scene, you would have been puking because you would have associated what happened to you driving over that cat, and you would have heard the sound effect in your head,
right?
And that would. Right. But here, it's a bad sound design. You're only reliant on the sound design, and some idiot, on a laptop decided to do the squishy sound. And that's it.
You know what? For 2 minutes. That could have been studio notes saying it sounds too realistic.
But that would, yeah, all right, we can go with that. What production company, Griff? There's fucking 5 of them on this movie. Take your pick. Which one raises their hand and said no? Maybe the genre company. Maybe it's the genre company. Ardai, no, help him. Somebody help him. Was anyone else puking up their dinner over this kid's annoying, horrible line reading, or this annoying kid's horrible line reading over Keach's death? I haven't heard dialogue this bad since the last Dean Koontz novel.
Oh my god. That's accurate.
Yeah, that's actually accurate. Yeah, folks. Yeah, no apologies to Dean Koontz. You suck. Stacy Keach, he's done. I hate to disappoint our listeners, but
I will say it's a great movie when you see Stacy Keach shoot a flaming arrow into a soccer field full of
gasoline-soaked bodies. Yeah, that was awesome. Keach was no doubt grateful he only had to shoot one day on this turn. I bet it was a one-day shoot. Keach was in, he did his lines, he hit his marks, and he was gone. There's no way he did more than one day on this film. And he probably insisted on that. He read the script and was like, fuck you.
Yeah, and he almost immediately gets impaled.
He did immediately get impaled.
They say that's a goof in the movie because he's impaled by the drive shaft of the
truck
rig.
But
the
gas
his hands back, the rig is totally fine. It's not destroyed at all.
Oh, right. Well, why did why were these dumb idiots not smart enough to drive the gas truck farther away so it didn't catch on fire and explode?
My God, they just now realized idiots. The gas line led up to the truck.
Yeah, I know.
Was like, are you fucking kidding?
Because we have to have a production value explosion. And Chris, you want to chime in on that awful CGI fire on those bodies?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Oh my God. This is why it took 5 production companies, because they were paying kids in their basement. Like, listen, we know you have homework, but we need you to finish this fire CGI shit.
But they could have just went and lit a real fire and replicated that, I think, better than trying to do it CGI. So anyway, there's a lot of bodies that get burned up. They shoot a couple and the tank blows up. Stacy Keach dies, unfortunately, folks. For Here Lies the Dead, the dust of the earth. Sam Jackson channels his inner Jules Winfield around the 48-minute mark with a religious passage reading inside of a drive-in concession stand. 2 things. Why does Sam Jackson always have to say that motherfucking line, and why do they always have to give him some religious speech to say in every film? Let's wrap it up with that. Can we give this guy something else to do? He does have range. Anybody seen A Time to Kill? The guy can act.
I love that movie.
What was the best?
They deserve to die, and they should burn in hell.
What was his best? His best film, I thought, was it called The Indian Dancer? What was the one where he was in a wheelchair?
My favorite Samuel Jackson film is Black Snake Moan.
No. What was the one where he's in the? That's good, but what was the one where he's in a wheelchair? That was his best film I think he's ever done.
No, you're talking about the M. Night Shyamalan.
No, the one with the one with Helen. Not that wheelchair. The one with Helen Hunt. He did one with Helen Hunt. No, that was Wesley Snipes. I'm sorry. Whoa, I'm getting my black actors confused.
He has Blazing Samurai coming out, which I guess is a cartoon, and then he's got. This is all in pre-production or post-production.
Oh my God!
Son of Shaft.
Oh really?
Unicorn Store.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Jesus.
The Last Full Measure, Incredibles 2, which I'm stoked on.
Yeah, that would be good.
Life Itself, Inversion, Glass, and Captain Marvel.
The guy has incredible range. I just wish he would just start picking projects and we're just more acting and less of this Hitman's Bodyguard
that's
shit.
What Unicorn Store looks like.
Is it really? I hope so.
Yeah, it's like a quirky indie.
All right, all right, okay.
He'll actually do some acting.
Maybe no phone means no cell phones, like a dead zone. Hey-oh! Nice to see King give a little dick suck to his far better material around the 53-minute mark.
Dead.
Yeah, he wrote. Get it? Get everybody got that? Get it? So anyway, they get out. They destroy the bodies. They're on the road again, and now they find that there's a place called Cashwalk, which is somewhere in Maine. and they find this little bar, this little British bar on the side of the road, where it has no phone, means no cell phones. So they go inside. Of course, there's normal people there. Happy hour start yet? It did indeed. Right after this turd started, or this podcast. It's actually been happy hour for several hours.
This felt like a really sad version of the scene from Shaun of the Dead, where they barricaded themselves inside a pub.
Good always conquers evil. I believe that. Jackson, drunk uncle acting in this scene, made me believe he was actually intoxicated in order to get through this day of shooting around the 56-minute mark. Yeah, it's happy hour, so Sam Jackson gets tanked up. I think he really did, and I don't blame him. So,
well, he's got that rejected golden girl hitting on him.
Yeah, if that played out, I thought it could have been interesting.
No,
but it did not.
It felt like she.
It goes nowhere. It goes,
like,
yeah.
She was
Why?
like,
Because he's blick.
But sir, you're blick.
But you're blick.
You
have to be a super cinephile to know that.
Okay. Whatever.
They fuck you with the cell phone service. They fuck you. You buy the plan, and then you get fucked. It's extra charges and roaming. We got to go back.
And if somehow they could have gotten the Verizon guy who's now the guy.
Why isn't this guy in this movie? Why is he not?
Can you kill me now?
I think every major cell phone company distanced themselves completely from this film. So you couldn't get any sponsorship from any of them. And I don't blame them. I honestly don't blame them. Yeah, I don't blame them. And so they're in this bar, and there's a bartender, a British bartender.
He looks like a hipster from Los Feliz on a Saturday night, and he's like, "Oh, I'm from England, yeah, right?"
No, he looks like a rejected Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, he's terrible. And there's the old lady who's kind of hot that Jackson would have banged, and then the guy she's with.
Betsy DeVos.
Oh yeah, you're right, very good. And then and there's some other weird guy who looks like he's in makeup. That guy is really fucked up. They're gonna end up dying shortly, folks. That is an angel in exile, or an actor in exile, since John Cusack hasn't had a decent role in years. All right, so anyway, they have Cusack's not really hitting on Furman, but they have kind of like a confab scene, which is really kind of nice, I think, where he's drawing her because he's a graphic artist.
I will say I was impressed that they managed to not make that creepy.
No, they did. No, that was okay. That played out. I didn't realize Furman was as young as she was in that, so
I'm glad that nothing weird happened, because he was already cheating on his wife with his girlfriend.
They camp out overnight, then the older lady wakes up and goes to the door, and apparently the cell phone, the phonies, the zombies are evolving, so you don't have to have a cell phone to get infected now. Apparently they're able to transmit that infection through their voice. So this bitch gets infected and ends up opening the door, and there's a big attack scene and a big fight scene inside this bar. I'm not going to get into this. It's standard bar zombie attack scene you've seen in a million other films.
But I don't understand. See, now there's no continuity again. She goes to the door to lock it, and then she stands there. No one gets in her face to scream the signal at her, and somehow she becomes a zombie.
I know, right. And as a result of that, Isabel Furman from Orphan gets killed. She gets hit with a baseball bat, and she bleeds out on a rock outside, because they only get shoot indoors for so long before they're tossed outside into no permit locations in the greater Atlanta area. They must have saved a ton of money with no permit locations. I bet you they just ran out to Stone Mountain Park and shot about half of this movie. All right, just walk that way and we'll shoot you, but we only have 2 minutes before the cops show up. I mean, it was all fucking Lloyd Kaufman shit.
Because this started to look like the Hunger Games.
It really does. It's really cheap. Well, yeah, that was shot in Atlanta too. Yeah, it's a lot of cheap looking shots. So anyway, Isabel Furman's done, guys. We apologize. I thought hopefully she'll show up in better material. So anyway, they leave there, and now they are running through Stone Mountain Park. Our names don't actually matter anymore. Well, neither does a convincing Boston accent, unlike Nora Crest earlier, since actor Anthony Reynolds sounds like he just got off his shift at a local dinner theater around the hour and 6 minute mark. Was David Cross not available for this role? That guy is terrible. He is flat out terrible.
I'm sorry, this was my favorite part of the whole movie.
You like this guy?
And when this guy goes on his rant, you know what the solution is? You just don't sleep. You just stay up. I've been up for how many days I've been up now? What was it? 5, 6, 7? I don't know. I've been up. You just stay up. She sleeps there. I walk around. I can just walk around. I just keep walking.
I don't know where they got this guy. I don't know how he got cast in this major motion picture, but there you go. So anyway, they're in.
Probably was just tripping on fucking meth, and they were just like, and what has been happening with you for the last week? I don't know. I don't in my head.
They stumble across a guy in an ice cream truck with a pregnant woman who's not. He didn't impregnate. It was just another woman he's with, and he's legitimately crazy, like Chris was just saying. He's a phony.
Wait. I just realized we skipped a very crucial scene.
Well, all right. What we got?
Okay, the fever dream.
That was way back in the concession stand, but if you want to go back
that
over
was
that.
weird. Everybody had a dream about the guy.
Yeah, we should.
Zombie blowjob.
And that scene pissed me off because then I started to think maybe this whole movie was going to end up being like fucking John Cusack's other movie, Identity.
But back in
the thing is like a dream.
But his non-zombie wife is giving a blowjob to this zombie dude.
Well,
this, like long-haired surfer.
Why?
Yeah. Why?
Okay,
why?
well, hang on. Well, but way back in the concession stand scene, they all sleep, and they all share kind of the same dream of the same red-hooded man who apparently is the Crimson King in the novel, but we don't know that. Oh, not the Crimson. Yeah, not that. No, it's a Raggedy Man. It's a Raggedy Man. But
it's also the character that John Cusack drew in his graphic novel.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's kind of connectivity. We don't know that, but yeah, there is a scene where John Cusack is in the dream sequence, walks into the restroom and finds his wife giving a blowjob to this, which was really like, what is going on? That was there's a connectivity going on that the Red Hooded Man may be at the center of this whole problem or controlling these phonies or zombies. Okay, we should. Yeah,
and this guy, like the Raggedy Man's, like getting a blowjob and grunting like he's in labor.
Yeah. It's not a very good blowjob. But there you go. This is going to blow your mind. You better step away. I wonder if the screening audiences were given the same explosive devices or wear around their necks to use at any point in watching this turd. Hour and 13-minute mark on that one. So anyway, we should say David Cross' character blows his head off. That's one of the better scenes in the film, guys. I like that one. And he really blows his head off.
No, his detonator looks like a refrigerator water filter.
I know, and it looks like they just taped bags.
Oh yeah, it's so lazy, dude.
Like
it's
sugar,
so fun. Yeah,
maybe I don't know, powdered sugar or something.
It is.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Fuck it, we don't even have any electrical tape. Does anybody have any painter's tape?"
No, they went to the theater departments of local high schools asking for
guys.
supplies.
It is such a
they
lazy
literally
scene.
Walked up and down the aisle of not even like a Lowe's because they were so cheap. They just went to like some rinky-dink little
Ace
hardware store
it was
in the
like
town they were
Ace
shooting in, and that's like all they had.
Craigslist.
It's a lazy bomb. If the prop people really kind of fucked up with that.
But he acted like he was having a migraine while he was pressing the detonator.
Yeah, just get the guy some aspirin. I don't think you need to blow his head off.
I'm like, it's like, dude, you know it's gonna be over. Like, was he worried it was not gonna work? And he'd be like, oh, I'm still here.
The worst part about that is that character overshot his mark because if you ever knows the film Scanners, where Michael Ironside has his head explode, that's what I was expecting. But when this guy blows up, he blows up like a football field. Like he just way overshoots it big time. Like John Cusack got to run for cover. Stay here. I've got to do this alone. In case you wanted to see a boring 6-minute scene of Cusack wandering around his own house and eventually killing his infected wife, I give you the hour and 14-minute mark. So they finally get to the fucking house where his wife and kid are, and he has to go in there alone, and we have to watch 6 minutes of him wandering around his own house, which he already knows the layout of his own house, not finding his kid, going upstairs. Well, he finds a message for him on the fridge.
Well, and again, message spilled out perfectly.
Yeah, very well. With those
he
letters.
Does not think that anything is up. Mom is one of us.
Yeah,
I went to this place.
Cashwhack. That's where everybody's going because that's.
I went to Cashwhack.
Yeah. Cashwhack is supposed to be a no cell phone zone in Maine where everybody's supposed to be safe there, but obviously, but everybody's saying it's a trap.
But again, like this is like his young son writing this perfectly, and like nothing's out of place. It's
also, how was he tall enough to reach the freezer to put that message on? But I guess he had a chair.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
There's some logical. He gotten a chair.
I didn't see one.
All right, there you go.
He could have pushed it back in. Maybe he's a good kid and he puts shit away when he
so
like if he just like trapped his mother in the closet and can maybe
how do you do that? How do you trap his mother in the upstairs attic closet, which we have no idea. Anyway, so John Cusack finds his old lady, ends up killing her because the woman initially appears as that red-hooded man who was getting a blowjob from his ex-wife, but then she turns into the wife because he ends up killing her. And Sam Jackson comes in to help out because he needs to be in the scene. He's got to eat, right? So what do you got there? A flip phone from every low-budget film made within the last 5 years. Duh. So, yeah, before the David Cross character dies, he gives a flip phone to John Cusack and says there's a number on there you got to call when the time is right.
That phone.
Everybody did. Oh, yeah, we all did. Yeah. And when the time is right, everybody in Asylum Films, Chris, has that phone. But this guy's got to call this number when the time is right, and then we're going to find out what it leads to very shortly. I'm going to Cashwhack For a moment, I thought Cusack actually said cash back, at which point I would have said, yes, please. Ew.
Does that mean he's going to start
That's
doing
actually-
Capital One commercials?
That's actually... Okay, all right, we can go with that. All right, there. Somewhere there's a joke there, folks. I got to find my kid. I got to know one way or the other. Does anyone really care at this point whether Cusack's kid is alive? That's the other problem. They had one scene together that was on a cell phone. There's no emotional hook for this movie. They had iMeet chat. Like, that was... I don't give a shit if the kid's alive. I really don't. At this point, like, just
other than, like, him playing
Who
the
cares?
kid's voice back.
Johnny. These are the only two words you're going to hear in a badly composed 6-minute sequence where Cusack drives a truck full of C4 through a bison stampede of phonies, shoot the red-hooded man repeatedly hanging there.
Like a zombie high.
I know. Find his effective son and blows a giant cell phone tower apart in some of the worst CGI ever put to screen. You're welcome. I didn't even get the timestamp on that motherfucker. Phony circle stampede resembles a monthly Scientology meeting.
No,
Yeah.
It's super fucked up.
So let's explain. So he decides he's got to go and handle this alone. He's got to go to Cash because he knows it's a trap. And apparently that crazy David Cross character had put C4 explosives in that ice cream truck. So his plan is to drive the ice cream truck to the tower, get his son, blow the whole thing, and save the world. Okay, that's the plan. And so anyway, he says goodbye to Sam Jackson and the other characters who, guess what? You're not going to see them again. I don't want to give spoilers, but you're not going to see them again. No,
it's not even spoilers because we don't know what happens to them.
Right, so we get to the red-hooded man. If your main villain looks like a meth head hanging out at a 7-Eleven, you know your film is trouble. Was that the worst villain? That's the villain. Like, where's Tim Curry, Sissy Spacek, Jack Nicholson, Kathy Bates, and a 1958 Plymouth Fury? God damn it, when you really need them. Man, I didn't even stick the... Damn it.
Instead, we have somebody who looks like Daniel Tosh when his career falls off, begging for change.
Tosh 3.0. So he gets there. All these phony people are walking in a big circle. There has to be, 500,000 of them, or 100,000. I don't know how many people are in a big circle around a cell phone tower.
I think there's a few thousand.
All right. So anyway, he gets through that initial thing, and shoots the red-hooded man, and then finds his son in this mess of people. And then
who he thinks is normal at first, and then
yes,
open.
Yeah. And now we blow the cell phone tower and everybody in it. So then we flash to this. I'm so glad you get to meet my friends, Johnny. Welcome to one of Stephen King's most depressing endings since his film adaptation of The Mist, which was
and it's under like an Instagram filter.
Yes,
like this scene.
We get a happy scene of them together, and then
see, that's how I knew it was like a dream sequence or something. Now I was pissed. So I went back to the beginning. I rewound it to look at the scene where he and Samuel Jackson enter his apartment to see had he drawn all these people. Was the whole thing a figment of his imagination? Because the ice cream truck is there. So what happens? Does he actually drive the ice cream truck there and then he becomes overwhelmed by the signal and becomes a zombie? Did all the things leading up to that happen?
Hang on.
Based on people around him that he's just walking with and he can see, and the ice cream truck.
I said
I rewound the ending like 2 or 3 times.
I said why?
Because I would have been satisfied with an ending that showed him walking next to Samuel Jackson and his kid and the other people that he had interacted with. If they were the people surrounding him, I would have been like, oh, okay, this guy was like a writer, and then he's this zombie, and this is what's going on in his mind.
Well, my thing was, why does Cusack even bother trying to get through that phony zombie stampede when he could have just easily set off that C4 from where he is standing inside the circle? Why did he try to go back through it? Only to get...
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
To find his kid somehow.
It doesn't make any sense, guys. So, and the last shot, folks, is he didn't escape with his son. It flashes back to that circle thing we talked about, and he's just one of the people. And that's it. Like, that's literally the end of the film.
And then they're playing Walk On.
They're playing
We'll Never Walk Alone.
So that's my logical questions time. I'm going to have Griffin answer this because she did the research on it. First of all, my questions are, who is the red-hooded man? Who built the cell phone tower? What happened to the other characters? Did the world actually end? And who's responsible for this attack? Go.
Okay, there's only so many questions I can answer.
Yeah. Well, that was all mine in one shot.
I feel like Sarah Huckabee Sanders right now. Okay?
So please,
Trump is all over this, and I stand by what he said yesterday.
Okay, Jim Acosta. For one thing, they don't go to some random cell tower with the Raggedy Man.
Really?
It's in the middle of a county fair. It's actually,
Really?
the description reminds me of that Care Bears movie where they get caught in the Carnival of Sadness or wherever.
That's me every week.
And apparently in the book, the phonies have more agency. Like, they are directed to do things. They can even direct people who aren't phonies. They have increasing psychic powers. Anybody who kills phonies is marked. They send out signals to the non-phonies to kill those people.
So what? All right. So how does this end?
So they force them to go to this dead carnival area or county fair area. They lock them in, and they're gonna have a ceremonial execution that's supposed to convince the rest of the non-phonies, the normies, to go along with them. And apparently there's a bunch of phonies that have a mutated pulse, like his son.
Oh,
so they're like half conscious. So the Raggedy Man is the leader, but they don't explain why. And but Clay stays back to detonate the bomb, but survives while the rest of the group is in Canada. So apparently, like, Clay tries to give his son another pulse to, like, clear him.
And then what happens?
Then they go to Canada. Or wait, no, the book ends with Clay dialing and placing the cell phone to Johnny's ear. He's trying to, like...
still ends on a weird.
So you don't know. You don't know.
But what's his name? Cusack survives. He does. He's not part of the hive.
We don't know.
Like, see, he fucked up his guy. So he fucked up this ending twice, is what you're saying.
But at least it's ambiguous, like, in a...
I don't know.
No, the thing is, like, this is, like, the most fucked up, ambiguous ending I've ever seen.
It is. It really is this is a terrible ending for the film, and it doesn't sound any better for the book. This was one of these King novels.
No, it's better for the book. Sorry, guys.
I'm saying what I said was a better ending. If he had been surrounded by Samuel Jackson
I like
and other
that.
people,
right.
and it had just been something in his mind.
But this movie is fucked up. It's like a horror. No, it's like the horror version of Clue, where at the end it's like, well, this could have happened.
Yeah, they give you
but how about this?
14 different endings.
Yes, exactly.
It's terrible.
They don't tell you which one to go with.
No, they don't. It's a reprehensible ending.
It's like a choose your own adventure book without
there you go. I think
any finality.
Griffin with the win on that one. Crest on credits? What the hell happened during the credits?
Nothing happens in the credits, and then at the very end, the screen goes black, and then you hear this signal.
That's it? Oh, that was very good.
Signal. The end credits can eat a dick.
Oh, God. Crest did a better job than probably the sound design. So that's it. All right, so there's no... Yeah, exactly. What a piece of shit. This is definitely one of the worst adaptions. And this is one of these ones they kind of shuffle underneath the carpet, hoping nobody remembers or notices. But guess what, guys? It hit the restroom, so we noticed. All right, so there you go, folks. That is, Jesus Christ, that is Cell for this week. We took it out and played with it a lot longer. We should have. Can we flush it, ladies? Can we please flush it?
Flush it down with the pills King wrote. Or took to write this.
Or that. We go with that. Consider it. Oh, there you go, folks. Consider flush. That is it for this week. I want to thank my lovely co-cinematic flushers, Midwest Movie Mogul, Colleen Griffin, and Raging Buddha, B-Boy Queen, making a brief appearance back here in the restroom. Thank you very much, ladies. Great job as always. We're going to be back next week. Oh, man. It's going to be another turn next week. We're going to have a guest. Miss Colton will probably be back. It's going to be amazing. Until then, say goodbye, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, this is Sarah Polton, and I want to thank you for listening to This Week and every week as we flush these turds down our cinematic bowl here in the restroom. And by turds, I mean the movies, not my ex-boyfriends. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play Music so we can attract more listeners and so you don't miss a single episode. We love feedback, so email us at signalsoffury@gmail.com with your comments and suggestions for future flushes. Also, be sure to check out our home restroom on the net, signalsoffury.com. Until next time, remember, we're here to flush it, so you don't have to see it. I'm Sarah Polton, and this has been the award-winning Soiled Restroom Cinema.